New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
And now the good news. It is Friday night, July 24th, and we are here to share more great stories, fun stories, interesting stories. I'm Barbara Jean, your host, and I am delighted to start off today with a World Cup news. Well, this is how the World Cup has united soccer fans across the globe. The World Cup arrived during a turbulent global movement. Political tension, economic uncertainty, and controversy around the tournament build up dominating headlines for months beforehand. There was genuine concern that North America's first attempt at hosting a three-nation tournament could be overshadowed before a ball was ever kicked. Ticket prices had been hiked, as well as the train tickets connecting New York and New Jersey. Fuel costs for flights looked steep enough to keep fans home. But once the football started, something else took over. The unifying power of sport, the kind that reminds people why they fell in love with the game in the first place. North America welcomed fans with open arms. Spontaneous friendships formed on street corners, shared meals turned strangers into companions, and cultural exchanges played out in bars, restaurants, and stadium concourses from coast to coast. We're past the group stage now, and for many, the tournament has sadly ended. The knockout rounds are simple. Once you lose, you go home. Well, this news story came out on the 15th, so of course, we know it's over now. We're only a few days away from crowning a winner. Hey, Spain. Across cities, supporters reminded with each other why the World Cup is one of the most beloved events on the planet. Connection, kindness, and unforgettable human moments. And that's what you get. Japan discovers Texas barbecue, Korea and Mexico's street party friendships, Vozina goes viral, Scotland drinks Boston Dry, Norway channels its Viking spirit, England falls in love with Mexico City. A global community, one chant at a time. Across cities, cultures, and continents, the World Cup has reminded everyone of something simple and powerful. People are at their best when they're sharing joy. Well, that is great news for that sporting event that sometimes doesn't go so well. Well, I did share with you that we had some beluga whales here in Ontario that were getting a new home, which they sorely, sorely needed. And well, that has happened. 4 beluga whales from the shuttered Canadian park arrived at Chicago's Shed Aquarium after their rescue. When the Good News Network reported last week that Canadian and U.S. authorities approved the emergency transfer of some 30 beluga whales from a closed park in Ontario, little had been released about how one goes about moving a several-ton marine mammal across state boundaries. Then news broke that 4 of those 30 whales had already arrived, safe and sound, at the Shed Aquarium in Chicago. Photographs released by an organization involved in the logistical effort showed belugas being pulled out of the holding pool at Marineland in Ontario on special cloth gurneys before being hooked to a crane and lowered into special cold water containers pulled by trailer trucks. Their ticket to Chicago was via a Qatar Airways Boeing 777 container aircraft, which brought them safely down to O'Hare and onto their final destination, the Abbott Oceanarium at Shed, where they're undergoing health and wellness checks after the wild ordeal. Moving animals like beluga whales, even under the best circumstances, is challenging. Dan Ash, president and CEO of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, which organized the move, he told CBS News Chicago. This moment marks the next chapter for these rescued belugas. Now that they are here, the full attention of our care and veterinary teams is on getting to know these whales and providing whatever supplemental support, care, treatment, nutrition, and attention we can provide to help them acclimate to their new environment. Marineland, the whale's previous home, was the center of perhaps the highest profile case of institutional serial animal abuse in the Western world. Ugh, it was ugly. With the Ontario government finally shutting down the theme park after decades of accusations, investigations, and court cases, it was unclear what would happen to these 30 belugas that had lived too long in captivity to be released into the wild. Marineland had no more money to care and feed for the belugas, and even threatened to euthanize them if Canada didn't approve permits to move the creatures to other aquariums after a previous attempt to send them to China was rejected. Now, both the NOAA and the Department of Fisheries and Oceans Canada have approved plans and issued correct permits. So 4 are now settled. Yay! More to come. So glad to hear this, because it really was heart-wrenching to hear about what was going on at Marineland. Okay, so here's a daughter who saves her dad's business by, doing a little TikTok. A daughter helped save her father's vintage Italian shoe shop by posting a pair of Y2K kitten heels on TikTok, and now it has lines outside the door. For over 30 years, Rashid Lazrak has owned Rich Collection Italia, but the emergence of online shopping practices and an aging clientele left the store in East London struggling. Then his 25-year-old daughter noticed that a French influencer had posted about her dad's shop as a hidden gem, and it gave her the idea to do the same. She posted about the Y2K sandals in her first video on July 7th, which got 300,000 views overnight on TikTok. And within days, there were 2-hour-long lines outside the door. My dad has been running this shop since before I was born, so we were all sad to see it suffering, said Ms. Lazrak, a London journalist. He usually had older, regular clients, but they've been petering out over the years. Now he has a whole new set of clientele, the streams of young people coming to the shop every day. She remembers her dad sending a message to the family group chat saying some young French girls had come into the shop, which was unusual. That's when we realized a French influencer had posted a video showcasing the Y2K kitten heels, which I didn't even know he sold. It was amazing to see. By highlighting the shoes that would appeal to people my age, we had lines out of the shop in no time. The climax of the shop's turnaround was Mr. Lazrak's ripping down his closing sale sign while surrounded by applauding customers. Yay! Way to go. That is one good daughter. Who knew? Good old TikTok, eh? Well, we've got a couple of quick little stories here about kindness, because I think kindness is something we need to be kind. Let's just get that. So kids are all right asking this temporarily disabled or, partially abled buddy. So I've been in a sling for several months now, he said. I'm finally getting my shoulder surgery repaired soon. Shoulders are painful, by the way. A lot of times I do have people I know helping me, but today wasn't one of those days. I live in a 3rd floor walk-up apartment. My apartment complex lot gets packed fast, so I had to park about 2 blocks away today. It's about 102 degrees right now. I was carrying 2 bags of groceries in my one functional arm that is about ready to throw in the towel after literally doing all this heavy lifting for months. I'm walking along, toughing it out. I don't think I was visibly struggling, but internally I was. This kid is walking towards me, maybe 12 or 13, takes one look at me and offers to help. I had to keep from bursting into tears because I've had so many adults in my complex watch me carrying heavy loads and not say a thing. And here's this kid not thinking twice about it. I graciously accepted his help. He helped me carry my groceries up to my front door and was going to take off without another word. I only had a 5 in my wallet, but I gave it to him for just being a good human being. He seemed genuinely surprised by the gesture. What a good kid, and kudos to his parents for raising him right. So when you see somebody out there who could use a hand, give it to them. Okay, so here's a good one. If you ever been in a little car accident, you'd know about this. And our stories tonight have come from the Good News Network and from Sunny Skies. So instead of anger, this driver gave the man who hit him a hug. Traffic accidents often end up with raised voices, frustration, and blame. But one recent collision in Brazil took a completely different turn, and it's touching hearts around the world. In the city of Cambouru, Brazil, a driver rear-ended another vehicle on a downtown street, creating what could have been a tense and emotional confrontation. Instead, a simple act of compassion transformed the moment into one that thousands of people won't soon forget. Security camera footage captured the aftermath of the crash on Rua Rodolfo da Silva Simas. As the drivers stepped out of their vehicles, one of them became visibly overwhelmed. Rather than responding with anger or pointing fingers, the other driver wrapped him in a comforting hug. The two stood together for a few quiet moments, sharing what appeared to be a heartfelt exchange before continuing to deal with the accident. The touching moment was later noticed by a local resident reviewing neighborhood security footage. His daughter shared the video online, where it quickly spread across social media. The clip has since been viewed more than 200,000 times on a regional page, with viewers praising the driver's kindness and empathy. While the crash itself was unfortunate, the response afterward became a powerful reminder that even in stressful situations, people still have the ability to choose kindness over conflict. What a good idea. And on that note, let's take a little commercial break, and we'll be right back with more good news. Stay tuned.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
Well, now a little bit more good news. Now, this grandpa has spent 8 years cuddling a hospital's tiniest fighters every week. Some heroes don't wear scrubs or carry stethoscopes. Twice a week, 73-year-old Dave Whitlow walks into the neonatal intensive care unit at Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU with one goal: to comfort some of the hospital's most fragile patients, one cuddle at a time. For the past 8 years, Whitlow has served as a volunteer cuddler, spending his Tuesdays and Thursdays holding premature and critically ill babies while they fight for their lives. It's the best gig I've ever had. It just feels right, Whitlow said. During a typical visit, he cradles 5 or 6 infants. On an especially busy day, he may hold as many as 8 babies, some weighing less than 2 pounds. Every visit begins with careful preparation. Whitlow puts on a gown and gloves before entering the NICU, and he leaves his phone outside the unit so nothing distracts him from the tiny lives in his arms. I pretty much just want to be with them, he said. Although his role is built around compassion, Whitlow approaches it with remarkable attention to detail. Before picking up each baby, he checks in with the nurses to understand the child's condition and any special care instructions. I asked the nurse, tell me what this child is receiving. What kind of treatment? Is there anything special I need to know about it? Once a baby is resting against his chest, Whitlow keeps a close eye on the monitors. I watch the monitors first to see whether positionally there's anything to do to improve. His SATs are at 100%, so that's what we're looking for. Before retiring, Whitlow spent more than 40 years as a local government manager. He is also the father of 2 and grandfather of 3. Today, he says the NICU has become a place where healing extends far beyond medicine. The support and spiritual needs of the family and the staff, and so it all kind of gets tied together here. Perhaps the sweetest part of his routine comes just before he returns each baby to their bed. Leaning in closely, Whitley quietly shares the same heartfelt wish every time. Grow strong, grow smart, grow kind. Sage advice. Okay, so the best thing about this Chick-fil-A isn't on the menu. It's 92-year-old Mr. Gill. Now, at an age when most people have been retired for decades, 92-year-old Gilbert Martin still shows up at work every day with one simple goal: make someone's day a little brighter. Known affectionately as Mr. Gill, Martin has become a beloved fixture at the Chick-fil-A on Oleander Drive in Wilmington, North Carolina. While customers may stop in for chicken sandwiches, many leave talking about the friendly dining host whose warm smile and genuine kindness have made him a local legend. For the past 6 years, Mr. Gill has welcomed guests, cleaned tables and floors, restocked sauces, and kept the dining room running smoothly. But ask him what his most important job is, and his answer has nothing to do with cleaning. The main thing is that I take care of the people out here first, he said. That attitude has made an unforgettable impression on both customers and coworkers. He brings joy to our team members and guests through his genuine warmth, work ethic, and servant heart, says Chick-fil-A owner and operator Mike Perdue. We're honored to have him as a part of our restaurant family. Before joining Chick-fil-A, Martin spent decades working in the natural gas industry. After retiring, he worked for more than 12 years as a greeter at Sam's Club until the position was eliminated. Retirement did not last long. After about 2 months, I was bored, so I put an application in, Martin recalled. Now he works Monday through Friday and says he looks forward to every shift. I don't know what 92 is supposed to be, but I feel great, he says. Is that awesome or what? Ooh, here's a great story. This is from the Good News Network. A Czechoslovakian woman, hacks her way into the record books at World Lumberjack Games in Wisconsin. As Carolina Urbanova broke the log of white pine she was standing on in half with her axe, she notched the second world record for women's speed lumberjack events she set that day. The 11 inches of white pine was severed in 21.28 seconds, beating the previous time of 24.26 seconds. Urbanova is one of a generation of women reaching elite levels in timber sports, which, while being niche, to say the least, in the US, is virtually non existent in her home country of Czechia. Excuse me, I said Czechoslovakian. She's Chechkin. My apologies. I'm still growing and still learning, but now the level of the girls is really high. So it's also hard to keep the same rhythm with them because they now want to be better than me. I just feel pretty proud of myself, she says. The Lumberjack World competitions recently concluded in Hayward, Wisconsin, where Urbanova was among the 40 lumberjills and 66 lumberjacks, okay, who competed for wood chopping glory. The record she set was for the underhand chop category, where the axe is swung at a log between the competitor's legs. Ouch. I don't think I'd want to do that, just in case I miss. Anyway, congratulations to this incredible Czechkian woman. I'm not sure I'm even saying that right, but anyway, Czech woman who did this remarkable thing. Okay, so back to our kindness stuff. So a double kindness kind of morning. Two people stopped to help an elderly man. Yeah, it's something when one person stops, but two. This morning I was driving to the library and I noticed an older gentleman driving a motorized wheelchair on the sidewalk on my right-hand side. I saw him drop something, stop, and start to lean over. I happened to be turning right anyway, so I pulled into the parking lot nearest to the sidewalk where he was. I noticed a truck also turning right, and lo and behold, he parked right near me. We both got out to check on the man and smiled. I was closer, so I actually went to check on him, and the truck driver gave me a thumbs up to make sure he was okay. He just dropped a power cable for a phone charger, and I was able to get it unstuck from his wheels pretty quickly. The gentleman thanked me, and it was just so wholesome that two people actually stopped to help. A simple story, but again, a really good one. Okay, here we go again. I just thought about my own kids. A complete stranger saved this little girl's life. A frightening afternoon at Michigan Beach turned into a story of courage and hope, thanks to one woman who refused to stand by. When a 2-year-old girl was pulled from the water unconscious and not breathing, Maritza Mojica immediately put her CPR training into action and helped save the child's life. The incident happened Sunday afternoon at Vesuvius Park in Plainfield Township, Michigan, around 4:30. Mojica saw a panicked mother rush from the water carrying her young daughter who was unresponsive. Honestly, I just thought about my own kids, she told News 8. I would want somebody to do it for me. At first, the terrifying scene left her frozen. At first, I just froze, she recalled. The mom was crying, so I went over. I took the baby out of her hands and started mouth to mouth. I am a certified CPR person for infants, children, and adults because of her job, and she immediately relied on that training. When the rescue breaths alone did not work, she switched to chest compressions. That wasn't working, so I started the compressions. Moments later, the little girl began breathing again. I wasn't working, so I did both. It wasn't working, the breaths. And so she did both, and that's when she started breathing. Then she passed out, and I did it again. Although the rescue felt much longer in the moment, it was estimated that she cared for the little girl by herself for only about 2 minutes before help arrived. It felt like forever, she said. Thanks to her calm thinking and willingness to step in, the toddler survived the ordeal. According to a spokesperson for Plainfield Charter Township, the little girl has since been released from the hospital. What a beautiful thing to do. I love that. And if you're not trained in, baby CPR, you might want to consider it. I had the training when my fourth child was born, better late than never. And I gotta say, it came in handy one day when she was choking, and I knew exactly what to do. She was about a year old, and I knew exactly what I needed to do, which solved the problem instantly. Baby CPR, great course. Okay, Montana teens rodeo skills save a drowning man in incredible Yellowstone River rescue. A 14-year-old Montana ranch kid turned a skill he'd been practicing for cattle into a life saving rescue when he lassoed a man being swept away by the Yellowstone River. On July the 5th, Jory Thomas was camping with his family near Grey Cliff when desperate cries for help shattered the quiet afternoon. We all heard, "Help, help," he recalled. There's two or three people floating down the river, one hanging onto the cooler, and he wasn't saying anything. A raft and paddleboard had collided with a bridge pillar, throwing four people into the fast moving river. Three were able to reach shore, but one man continued drifting downstream while desperately clinging to a cooler. Jory knew there wasn't a second to waste. This current was pretty fast, and he was moving very quickly. One only thing I could focus on was getting him out of the water because I didn't want to see anything go in front of me. The teenager emptied his pockets, splashed through a waist-deep side channel, goodness, and raced along the riverbank to catch up with the struggling man. Fortunately, he had something with him that would make all the difference. Earlier that year, Jory had become serious about learning to rope while helping at local cattle brandings. Nearly every evening, he practiced with a roping dummy, sharpening a skill he assumed would only ever be useful on the ranch. I actually started really getting into roping this year, he said. I went to brandings and started roping cattle, and then I started getting better. Every afternoon when it cools off, I go out and rope the roping dummy. Well, we came down to this campground a couple times during the summer. Jory comes over quite frequently and has never ever brought his lariat with him before. And that day he did. Standing on the riverbank, Jory grabbed his 12-foot lariat and trusted the skill he had spent months developing. My first instinct was try and rope him and drag him out before he gets too far down the river. Luckily, I caught him first try. With the rope secured, Jory carefully pulled the man through chest-deep water until he reached safely where first responders were able to take over. I felt pretty good afterwards that I knew he was okay and was out of the water. When he returned to his family, his grandmother remembers exactly what he told them. He comes up and he said, "I think I just saved a life." And we all said, "Yeah, you did." How great is that? And our final story of the day is one that really touched my heart. A name on a coffee cup changed how I saw someone. It's interesting how small things can make a big difference. I used to think kindness was mostly about what you gave. Last Tuesday changed that. After work, I had half a sandwich and some fries left over. I knew I wasn't going to eat them. Outside my office building, there was an older man sitting against the wall. I'd seen him around a few times. I walked over and held out the container. "Hey, I'm not going to finish this. Would you like it?" He smiled as he took it. "Thank you. I really appreciate it." As I turned to leave, he glanced at the coffee cup in my hand. My name was written on the side. "Thank you, Emily," he said. "I hope you have a good evening." I froze for a second. He knew my name because it was written on a coffee cup. I didn't know his because I'd never asked. The person so many people walk past every day had just made me feel seen. The next morning, I saw him again outside my office. This time, I walked over first. "Good morning. I'm Emily." He smiled. "I know." He held out his hand. Here I'm getting teary. "I'm Daniel." We talked for a few moments. He told me he used to work construction until a back injury cost him his job. He never asked me for anything. He just seemed happy that someone stopped to talk to him. Like any other person. Oh my goodness. I still think about Daniel. The leftovers probably only helped him for one meal, but learning each other's names reminded me of something I'd forgotten. Sometimes what people need most isn't charity. It's simply being treated like they matter. On that news, I invite you, the next time you see somebody out on the street or somebody who needs a hand, please remember this story and remember the importance of saying, hi, my name's Barbara Jean. Well, that's our good news for this Friday, July the 24th. I'll be back again next week with more good news. Our good news today did come from the Good News Network and from Sunny Skies. We're grateful to them. And you can go to their websites to find even more. You can also stay here on the New Thought Media Network and catch all the great programming and the wonderful prayer work and everything that is done on this network every day, plus our radio station of very positive, uplifting music. You are truly divine, and I hope you hear that more often than once, for it really, really, truly matters. Anyway, I'm Barbara Jean. This is And Now the Good News. And before we sign off, please like, share, and subscribe, and, share it with a friend. Maybe they would like to hear some good news on this Friday afternoon or evening. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a terrific weekend. Bye for now.